Greetings, Patrick here. 8 questions worth, and welcome to the show. This one's going to be interesting. I have no expectations. I have no idea how it's going to go. This is going to be different. I want to play it a little low key, see how it goes. I got a really nice guest tonight in Karma Lewis, so I'm excited about that. She is a homesteader and interviewer out of Idaho. That's right. She does homesteading, and oh, that's really weird. Now I'm actually well, I think it's probably the other way around. Uh, that's cool. Uh, so yeah, she lives in Idaho. And we will be talking to her about that. We talked to her about various things. I know she is a lady of faith. I've heard her mention that before on her channel, and maybe we'll touch a little bit on that and what that entails, and anything good, any other thing that we could think about, because there are a lot of questions to ask, of course. But she goes, she'd ask me for could you please tell me what questions I'm going to be answering, so can you send me a prepared questions? And I'm going like, oh, Karma, you haven't seen this show very often because we don't do that here. But then again, she might on her show. She might actually send her guests questions saying these are the questions I'll be asking you, so they can be prepared. And there's pro and con with that. There's pros and cons with that. I mean, it's good to have, it's good, if you're really nervous or it's your first time out, you might feel like you need to have those questions. Me personally, I feel like I'm pretty good at this enough that I can take you through it and have a good time. And you won't be ambushed by any questions, that's for sure. There won't be any ambush questions or shock jock questions or anything else like that. We're just here to have a great time. And it's interesting. I can see my closet behind me. Hey, Jake, how are you, sir? How are you? I don't know. I don't know. I have to see what my schedule looks like. My schedule is absolutely is so busy right now. In fact, I am doing shows. Normally, I do 3 shows a week. Normally, this week I'm doing shows all the way through Saturday. I'm doing a show on Friday and I'm doing a show on Saturday. Um, the bottom half of my calendar in August is absolutely insane. Um, we are just so freaking we're so freaking full. But we will look into that. I promise you. Anybody that wants to say they want to come onto the show, I definitely will always write their name down and see what we can do. But speaking of calendar, because I did mention the calendar, no, no, you didn't. There's nothing to apologize for. It's just like I am just jammed right now. Let me show you my calendar here. So, of course, we already interviewed today. Tom Jaleffi from Flickering Myth magazine, and also a very prolific screenwriter. And we talked to him today at 2 o'clock. Now we're back here tonight, talking with Karma Lewis. And tomorrow we'll be talking with J.W. Colwell from the Indie Escape Network. He'll be here tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. On the 15th, we'll be talking with Brandon Rhines and Elizabeth Chamberlain. They will be here on the 15th at 8 o'clock. And on the 16th, we will be talking with actor and producer Corin Nemec. He's got a brand new Western film out called Place of Bones, and he is co-starring with Heather Graham. Heather Graham and Corin Nemec are doing a Western together with Tom Hopper. It looks amazing. And we'll be talking to him about that on Friday, the 16th at 8 o'clock. On the 17th, we have Chris Horner will be here with us, and we'll be talking about gaming. That's right, gaming. He's a game inventor, and he is working very hard on getting his first game out to mass market, and that is not an easy task to do. but we'll be talking to him about that on the 17th at 3 p.m. That's going to be a matinee show, 3 p.m. on Saturday. On the 20th, we have producer and actress Eileen Huntington coming in. She represents Louisiana very proudly. She is a New Orleans-based artist. She is actually, her and I have known each other for quite a while now. She helped me get some really good interviews, and I interviewed shark exorcists. I reviewed shark exorcists, and ended up getting to talk to Donald Farmer because of Eileen. So I'm grateful for that. This will be her first time on the show. On the 21st, we have our good friend Marshall Schartzer coming back in, van lifer Marshall Schartzer. He'll be back in on the 21st. He's got a brand new rig. Yeah, Carol gave up the Ghost. His old van gave up the Ghost, so he's got a brand new one, and he has been renovating this one here for new adventures. And Marshall is one of the top van lifers in terms of not only in a van life, but also to show you how to get into it if you need to be, if you want to be. And he shows you how to retrofit your rig, what they call their vehicles. They call them rigs. He'll show you how to renovate your rig and make it user friendly. So Marshall will be here on the 21st at 8 o'clock. On the 22nd, we have poet Stasha Strange will be here with us. That's right, boys and girls. Like, we got another poet. Last month we had Katie Thrun was in here, and absolutely fantastic show with Katie. Shout out to Katie. And this month we have Stasha Strange will be with us. She also is a fine poetess, and I have heard some of her work, and she also will be sharing some of her work with us on the show as well. And that will be on August 22nd. And then on the 23rd, we will be welcoming in Alexander Nevsky, Joe Cornett, and Tatiana Neva, and we will be going back to the Old West to talk about Taken from Rio Bravo. Wow, I cannot wait for that. It's going to be a fun show. Friday night, 8 o'clock. All right, the doorbell has rung, so you know what that means. That means we go out and get our guests. We don't make them wait. So thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. And let's go talk to Karma Lewis. Here we go. Ta-da!
Hello.
I'm gonna flip this over. Hello, I'm gonna flip this over so my camera will light me a little bit better. Yay, there we go. How are you? How's Idaho?
It is smoky, toasty, but cooler than normal.
It's cool. It's getting cool over there, isn't it?
And lovely.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm not really surprised by that. It's still pretty warm here. It's still pretty warm in Michigan. Uh-huh. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
There's a little bit of a delay.
Oh, yes, that's fine. Well, that's because it's probably because you're in the mountains.
No,
yeah.
I'm not.
You're not you're in the valley?
I am.
Yeah.
Where I live is about 2,600 feet.
Yeah, I was gonna say if
and
you're
it's
in
a high desert.
A high desert. Okay. So you must live by the Palouse then.
No, I am near the capital city, about 23 miles from the border of Oregon, near Ontario.
Now, isn't that the desert area? Isn't it called the Palouse? The empty area, the desert?
I've never heard our area referred to as the Palouse.
Okay, because it surprises. It's pretty surprising when you go up there, and you go up to that area, or Idaho and Oregon, or Washington, there's that massive. There's a desert. It's deserted out there.
Yeah. Southern Idaho, at least southwestern Idaho, is high desert. Idaho has a very, very diverse terrain. North Idaho is more prairie, very lush, very green. Central Idaho is mountainous. We have the Frank Church River of No Return Wilderness, where the highest peak is, which is Mount Bora. I cannot remember the exact height of it, but it's like 7,000 feet or higher. It could be even higher than that. I can't remember exactly. But a lot of people come here to climb Mount Bora in preparation to do Kilimanjaro and some of the other high peaks in the world.
Okay.
We have in eastern Idaho is very mountainous. It's close to, and actually we have just a slight edge of Yellowstone in eastern Idaho. In south central Idaho, we have Arco and the City of Rocks, which is where the astronauts trained for the moon landing.
Do they still train over there?
I don't believe they do. It's become a national park, but
Okay.
that is where they trained. We have the INL, which is the nuclear lab. We have Atomic City, which is the very first city ever to be lit with atomic energy.
Okay. Wow. Idaho there's a lot of history there.
There really is. The television was developed, and the very first television was ever made here in Idaho. I can't recall exactly where, but it was in southeastern Idaho, if I'm not mistaken.
Now, have you always lived in Idaho? Or are you a native Idahoan?
I was born and raised in Idaho. I spent 6 years living in California when I was a young girl. We moved back to Idaho when I was 14, and I graduated high school in Idaho. In fact, I met my now husband when we were in high school. We were high school sweethearts my senior year. We were apart for 22 years due to circumstances. But we've been together now for 13 years. I did spend 1 year in New Mexico for college, but
Okay.
I've lived the rest of my life here in Idaho, and I love it.
Yeah, it seems like a really beautiful state.
It is. It
Now,
is.
now how close
If
are
you
you
want to go to the mountains, you only have to drive a couple hours and you're in the mountains.
Yes.
There's skiing, there's fishing, there's hiking, there's whitewater rafting, there's birding, there's gem hunting. Literally, there is anything for the outdoor enthusiast.
Isn't that what Idaho's called? Is it called the Gem State, or is that
It
might be?
is.
Yeah, that's right. I seem to remember that.
Yes.
Now, what kind of gems have you gone out there? Have you looked yourself for gems? Have you found anything?
I've never had the opportunity, but one of my dreams is to go to North Idaho and hunt for a star garnet. There's only 2 places in the world you can find star garnets. Northern Idaho is one of them. India is the other place. And
Yeah.
that's my dream, is to find a star garnet.
Well,
Garnet happens to be my birthstone, and so it's kind of special to me.
like, have you ever gone hunting for one? You and your husband, have you guys drove up there and got out there and looked?
In all the years I have lived in Idaho, I've never made it to the Panhandle. I've
Oh
never
my.
been to northern Idaho. I've been to all over the south part of the state, but I've never had the opportunity to go to the northern part of the state.
Yeah, you know
Idaho's
what?
pretty stretched out. It's pretty
I'm
stretched out.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. I've lived in Michigan now since for 25 years, but I have never been past into the Upper Peninsula, to the Upper they call it. Never been. For one reason is because I don't like the Mackinac Bridge. That thing gives me that thing gives me the heebie-jeebies. So
Yeah.
yeah. Now if I were to cross over by a boat, I probably would do that. But asking me to
Right.
drive over the bridge, yeah, probably not so much. Um, and
I know.
I didn't feel so bad about not driving over the bridge because there's a lot of people who don't do that. In fact, they have what they call professional drivers, bridge drivers. If you drive up in your car and you're nervous to drive over the bridge, there's drivers that will drive for you. You can just relax in the back seat or in the side passenger seat, and you pay them a little bit of money, and they will drive your car over the bridge.
You can't beat that.
No, not at all. But
I
I
know
still go
when we
ahead.
lived in California, we lived in the Bay Area, and you have the Oakland Bay Bridge, which is a double decker, and you have the San Francisco Bridge, which is a suspension bridge, and then you had the San Mateo Bridge. The San Mateo Bridge is a 12-mile bridge,
That's a
and
long.
you cannot see land once you get past a certain point, and it curves. That one's
I,
creepy.
yeah, I've been on the San Mateo Bridge plenty of times. I lived in San Jose for 16 years before I came out to Michigan. So, and I got to go on it to on the Bay Bridge and also the Golden Gate. I was there when the earthquake hit in 1989, and the bridges, like the top of the bridge would fall down on the other one. So, yeah,
Oh wow.
that was sketchy. That was
We
sketchy.
left we left in 85. We were there from 79 to 85.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
so
California is nice, but I mean, it
it's a
is
nice
nice.
place to be from.
It's a nice place to visit, but I mean, especially now, I'm not so sure I want to live there. Um,
No.
but Idaho, well, Idaho too. Idaho. I'd love to visit it. I'd love to see the
Well,
state. I like to go see a football game there. Is really what I'd like to do.
well, we have Boise State University and
Mhm.
the home of the Smurf turf. I bleed blue.
That's right.
Boise State is my team.
Is Boise
You
your
know,
team? You're not a Vandal or a
Boise.
Bengal?
Oh, don't even talk about the Vandals. No. No, Boise is my team. I started watching them during Coach Pete's tenure and Kellen Moore.
Okay.
Yeah, they were the winningest team um, back in the day, and yeah, definitely Boise State is my team.
Yeah,
My
my
husband is from Arkansas, and he's a Razorback, so we have a little rivalry, friendly rivalry. Even though our teams would never meet up because they're in the wrong conference, but yeah, we like to tease each other that my Broncos would kick his pigs any day.
is your husband Logan?
Yes.
Oh, he's in the chat. So now have you ever made Logan do the Arkansas cry, the Suey cry? They always go Suey, pig, 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 pig. Have you ever
Um,
made him do
pigs aren't allowed. Pigs aren't
that?
allowed in my house.
But it would be so worth it to get every person I ever get from every person I meet from Arkansas. I always wonder if they can do that, and they pretty much all can. They go back there and go soo-wee, peep, 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 and it's like that's hilarious. Everybody knows how to do it, and it's just like it's
Yeah, he
crazy.
he probably can do a pretty good suey, but yeah, no pigs in my house.
Now, now, how close are you to Boise? Can you guys
No.
go to a game? Do you guys get to go to a game a year?
You can't afford it. No, tickets
Oh,
are way too expensive. But
yeah,
I've never had
yeah.
the opportunity to go to a Boise State game, but I watch it every chance I get. Yeah.
Tickets are probably
But we
pretty cheap in
also have,
Idaho.
there's a lot of colleges here.
Okay, see, there you
There's a
go.
lot of
See,
colleges.
your husband said that he won the hog calling contest when he was little. Everybody learns that. It's part of being. If you live in Arkansas, you have to be able to do the suey cry. You have to do it. You cannot live in Arkansas without doing that. I was going to mention. I could look up. I could look it up. I could even look it up for you. But I think that the tickets for the Kibble Dome are pretty cheap.
Yeah.
So how far away are you from
Right.
Boise? Uh, how many miles?
We're about,
What is your?
it's about well, city center exit is 49 and we're about milepost 23. So
26.
about, yeah, about 25 miles, 26, something like that.
That's not bad. I mean, you could always just drive there during the day and take part of the festivities and the atmosphere. I've done that before. It's some
I
I know a lot of people, Karma, who they can't go to the football games, the pro games because it costs too much. But they'll park anyway and they'll just tailgate and listen to the game on the radio or the TV. But they're still out there enjoying the atmosphere. I think that's great. I think it's fun.
I won't fight the traffic. I won't fight the
Yeah.
traffic. We year around Orange Barrel Rodeo, and we have too many Californians here now. I won't
Yeah,
fight the
what about
traffic.
that? What about how do you feel about that? Having all the all the Californians come in.
I don't
Are they
care. I
accepting?
don't care if they come here and enjoy our lifestyle, but don't try to change us. Don't try to make us what you left.
Yeah.
You know,
High prices, high taxes, and other things.
when
For sure.
my mom passed in 2014, and when my dad sold their house the following year, it was worth around $65,000. About 2 to 3 years later, the same house tripled, if not quadrupled in value because of
California.
Californians coming here and paying cash and jacking up our real estate. I can't afford to move from where we live. I can't afford to buy land because everything is so high in cost. Because now I need to qualify this. It is not just California. It's other very wealthy states where people can't afford to live there. So they see that we have a really, really, really good lifestyle here. And they've come in and infiltrated us. And now they're trying to change our way of life. And they're
Yeah.
eating up our land. They're buying up all of our agricultural land and they want the country lifestyle. So they build all these subdivisions on agriculture land.
Yeah.
They're buying acres and acres and acres of land and putting in subdivisions and townhomes and everything else out in the country. Well, you don't have the country lifestyle anymore. And you cannot feed a nation with townhouses and subdivisions.
No.
You can't. You cannot feed a nation with asphalt. And I'm sorry, but that's what's happening, not just in Idaho, but every other agricultural state.
Yeah.
They're coming in, they're buying up our agricultural land, and they are turning it into an asphalt nation. And how are we going to feed our country? How are we going to feed the world with asphalt and townhouses and subdivisions?
Well, to be perfectly cynical, hopefully I won't be around to answer that question.
Well, it's
I,
going to
I,
happen faster than you think.
well, I mean, yeah, but I just thinking, if there's the good Lord above, hopefully it won't be around to answer that. Um,
Yeah,
I did read something interesting though, and I read something today, and it surprised me. You know, because there's a lot of people paying attention to this, a lot more than people realize, and
exactly.
they're like over 500,000 men have they've gotten themselves snipped. They've done vasectomies, and when
Hmm.
they were doing a survey afterwards, they're asking, well, why are you getting snipped? And the guys are sitting there, and some of the answers they were giving was the ones we're talking about now, is because of climate change, because of the economy. It's like I don't want to bring a child into this world that I can't afford to take care of. So it's
Right.
like, and so uh, uh, so they have turned around, and they have gotten themselves snipped. Um, so I think that's a I would expound on that, but it's a different it's definitely I think people are they're paying attention to that, and that's good though, because I have to admit, my brother, when he told me, him and his wife were gonna be expecting, that's the first thing I thought of, was like, man, why? Because like, what are we leaving this world to? What are we leaving this country to, the future? Um,
Yeah,
is that one of the reasons why? Is that a reason why the homesteading has become such a popular thing now? Karma is because more and
exactly.
more.
Exactly.
Yeah,
People are realizing that you cannot depend on the economy. You cannot depend on um, commercial trade. You cannot depend on the government. You cannot depend on finances. You need to know how to feed yourself and your family. You need to know how to treat yourself medicinally. You need to know why God put all these medicinal plants on the earth to begin with. You know, in the Bible, it says that God put every plant on the earth for food and for medicine. And we pull a lot of plants out and call them weeds when so many of them have medicinal purposes. The dandelion, that's a classic example. Everybody kills them off, everybody pulls them as soon as they pop their heads. Every part of the dandelion has medicinal purposes. You can use it as a tea, you can make tinctures, you can boil the root, you can eat the leaves, and they're highly nutritious. Every part of a dandelion is nutritious, and it heals the ground. It provides food for the pollinators first thing in the spring. Why do
I
we do that? Just because
I
people decided it was an ugly weed?
I've always liked dandelions. I mean,
I do
I
too.
don't always, I've always thought of them as a pretty flower. I don't go looking to take them out. I don't. Um, if I had my way, I would leave them. It's just, unfortunately, the weeds that were, the leaves that are behind them, like the broadleaf, it's it's so big, and it is ugly. What I try to do is I just try to let the dandelion stay and then go into its ball, and then throw its seed out there before I do anything to it. Um, I don't know half the plants I don't even know. Geez, I would have to get a book for that, to see which plants are viable and which ones are not. I know there's some really noxious weeds out there that they do kill the
Right.
grass. They do kill they do kill my yard. Those are not my friends, but I don't know exactly which plants they are. I do know that it's not dandelion.
Right.
I see yards with bunches of dandelions. I think it's pretty.
Well,
though
let
my
me ask you
city.
this. Let me ask you this, Patrick. We are so dependent on electricity and electronics to provide us our information. If you had a power outage that lasted you 3 weeks or a month, where would you get your information?
Oh,
How
library,
would you survive? Huh?
library.
The
Yeah.
library's closed because there's no electricity.
Well. I wonder if they've. Well, I think they could actually. I don't know how they.
Their records are all electronic. They check you out electronically.
Yeah.
They keep their records electronically. How
I
are
would have
you
to
going
ask
to?
because they used not to be. Libraries used to not to be. They used to be all done by hand. You check out a book, they wrote it down with
But
longhand.
they are.
Um, I mean, that's the only thing I could think of is how would they do that? Where would I go? And that would
Exactly. They
probably,
used to do that.
yeah, yeah. I'm
If
not
you
sure what they
needed to
do.
navigate somewhere and you didn't know where the place was, how would you get there?
Roadmap,
You need,
atlas,
everybody needs
an
a
atlas.
library. This
Yeah.
this is one of them that I have. How to grow your vegetables, fruits and herbs. That's one of them. I have this one, Essential Oils of the Bible. I have this one, apple cider vinegar, how to use it and different ways to treat your body for different ailments. This is just the start of my library that I'm building. You need an
Now,
atlas
yes.
and you need to know how to use your maps. Everybody needs that. And the reason why is because when electricity goes down, and you know it will happen, you know it will. You've been up there in Michigan. You guys get storms, power outages,
Yeah, we got hit by a
but
tornado
our
last
power,
year.
the infrastructure in America is not very good. And you
Yeah.
know, everybody knows that.
I
And if some catastrophic thing happened and our cell towers are taken out, you no longer have internet. You're not going to be able to access the internet. You're not going to be able to use your cell phone. How are you going to get around? And
Yeah.
that's what people in the homesteading community are realizing. And it's not conspiracy theories. It's
No.
looking at reality and realizing, oh my goodness, you know, we've got to start going back to what, not necessarily going back to the horse and buggy, but going back to what our forefathers were doing and learning this information so that we can take care of ourselves in the event of something catastrophic.
I
To
100% agree.
us, we need to know what plants are healthy, what plants are poisonous. We need to know how to feed our family, how to grow food, how to save seeds. Because there's going
Now,
to come a day when you can't buy seeds. They're
yeah,
already moving towards that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree with that too. I mean, this has been it's incredible, and this might I don't know if this might ruffle your feathers or not. If so, sorry, not sorry, but ever since the pandemic and the completely ill handling of the pandemic, it's just been downhill. I mean, our government totally failed us as a country in not dealing with the pandemic. It had no idea. I had nothing in place to help us at all. And then it was denied, and then it was blamed on others. And for over a year, all that damage just compounded itself. And people say, well, the pandemic's been over. Okay, well, that's like you breaking your hand or you breaking your wrist. It broke, sure,
Mhm.
but it's not going to heal overnight, is it? It only took a second to break it, but it's going to take a long time for it to heal, and hopefully heal
Right.
properly. And it's the same thing with this country in this respect. It's like it didn't. It only took the pandemic that long to really
Yeah.
screw us up, and we're still here. We are 2024. We're still trying to get past it, and we're not doing a good job of it. Part of it is because it's pure greed. Part of it is
Yeah.
pure greed. And this is, because this is, we talk about America and we talk about being a united nation and working together. This pandemic has showed without a doubt that this country is not anywhere near that. We are not united in any way.
Well,
The companies are just bleeding us dry on all levels.
I
I mean,
believe I believe that it was entirely planned to bring division so that they could
yeah,
control us easier.
yeah,
Because
and it worked.
what
Worked.
is the easiest way to control a population?
Do nothing.
Well, no, the easiest way to control a group of people is to um, control them through fear.
And that's
And
what,
if
you know,
if you can control their food supply, you have them begging at your feet. That's why
yeah.
it's so important to know how to take care of yourself and to be able to raise your own food.
Now, I know you mentioned earlier, and when we talked beforehand, um, we talked about farming, and you said that you don't necessarily have a farm. This is what you're working for,
Yes,
but you do grow your own food, though.
I do. Um, this year's been a real. We live in a mobile home park in the country, and we have a rather large lot. We used to have our garden in an in-ground garden plot, and we had a few raised beds. The mobile home park was sold a year and a half ago to it was owned by an elderly gentleman, and his health started to, oh, I got flies flying at me. It was his health failed, and his family sold it to a management company. Well, we know what management companies are like.
Yeah,
They came in last fall and they told my husband and I that we had to get rid of our in-ground garden, which was actually next to our lot in a bare ground area of the park that's absolutely not used for anything. And we'd had it for 9 years. And they told us we couldn't have it anymore, but we could have a garden, but we had to do raised beds, and we had to move the raised beds that we had um, into our prescribed lot. And they gave us 6 months, which was basically all winter, to build our garden and get it into the lot. And so we have raised beds, and we turned them into self-watering raised beds, which I wish I'd have done it with all of them, but we only did it with 5 of them. And next year, I'm hoping to convert all of them into self-watering raised beds, because it I've had absolutely the most prolific plants. They're just gorgeous, lush plants. Um, Unfortunately, because we were still trying to build the beds and get them filled with dirt and everything, I got a little bit of a slow start, and I was trying to get plants started from seed, and I was having issues with that, and I got a really late start getting plants big enough to actually do anything. I'm not getting the harvest that I'd hoped for this year. It's all a learning curve because my garden's not out in the sun like it was before. So I'm trying to figure out what's going to grow best in which area.
Right.
But I have, I'm probably going to have more potatoes than we know what to do with because they're doing great.
That's awesome.
And some of my squash is doing great. But I am having a few issues that it's a learning year for me this year, whereas previous years have been just bumper crops.
I bet you're a hell of a canner too.
I've not been able to do canning. Number one, I didn't have the supplies, but number two, I am disabled. Okay. So it hurts for me to stand for very long. I can walk at a slow pace. I can walk and I can sit all day long doing my gardening. And I can do some lifting of up to a certain weight. But to stand for more than a few minutes at a time, I can't do it. But I'm working up towards that, and I'm trying to build up some supplies so that I can do some canning. I get my son to help me a little bit here and there, and I don't have the dexterity in my hands to safely use a knife.
Right.
And so I do have to have some help with that.
Now,
but I wish I could canning.
When did you and your husband get into the homesteading? How did that happen? Did you guys just start talking to each other about what was going on? Was he I'm sure you guys were both enthusiastic in starting it. But was it something that you did together? That, hey, we need to do this now.
It just sort of evolved. We have been together for 13 years. And when he was living in Missouri when we got back together, and he moved up here to be with me 13 years ago. And I wanted a cherry tomato plant because I love cherry tomatoes. And so we started with a cherry tomato plant. And then it became, well, I want some pear tomatoes too. So we had a cherry tomato and a pear tomato. Well, then I wanted to try a couple of other things, and he was game for that. And we got permission to have a small garden. He wanted okra. And so we wanted to try some okra and maybe some zucchini. And we started trying a few little things. And our garden just started growing and growing. And then I was like, if the economy and things start going down and we don't have very much income and we need to supplement our food supply. And so I thought, well, I can grow some food. Maybe together, if you'll help me, we can grow our food and we could at least maybe put it in the freezer. Because I have an upright freezer that I inherited from my grandma when she passed. And so he said, okay, sure, I enjoy gardening. Let's see what we can do. And little by little, our garden got bigger and bigger.
When Logan said, I like gardening, I love to garden, did you feel right there that you won the lottery?
I did. I did. And well, I knew I had anyway. I had my cowboy and I had my sweetheart from high school. And I knew that God had brought us together for a reason 13 years ago. So I already knew I'd won the lottery, but it was just, it sealed the deal. So,
yeah.
But little by little, and I was disabled, like I said, and I couldn't get into the garden and really do much. So he was doing all the work. And I felt so left out. I felt so useless. When you're disabled, there's a lot of emotion involved.
Yeah.
When you can't get in there and do much. And I wanted so desperately to be a part of it. I could carefully walk out in the garden and maybe pick a tomato or something, but I couldn't get my hands in the dirt. I couldn't be a part of it actively. Yeah, I could pick the vegetables that we were going to grow, and as far as choosing what we were growing.
Were your
Be
injuries are your injuries hand related? I mean, are they?
I have osteoarthritis. I have fibromyalgia. I have chronic pain syndrome. I have complex regional pain syndrome. Um, and then I have Sjogren's. And they're all pretty crippling. There was a time where I would spend 16 hours in bed a day, easily.
Wow.
And barely be able to walk. I have a power chair sitting in the house that I no longer really use, but I used to have to use it
But now
to be able to come outside. And now I hardly have to use my cane. I have 2 artificial hips. And so my first artificial hip was done when I was 38 years old.
38.
Yes.
That's one thing I have to sit there and say. You know, used to hear this all the time when an elderly person would fall and hurt their hip, right? Oh, that's it. That's it. Oh my gosh. Ain't that something? My mother-in-law, she was in her 80s, and she got her hips replaced. I cannot tell you. She was up and walking the next day.
They make you.
By the end of the week, she was walking unaided. Within 2 weeks, she was in front of our house out walking her daughter and her husband. I had to walk fast to keep up with her. I had to walk
quite that fast. Good, but
it's amazing what the technology today is. A hip replacement is it is not. Wow, it's probably one of the more innovative things that our medicine has done, is that's no longer, you got to replace a hip. Now if they could ever get the knee to be that easy, it'd be great. But the hips, they just go ahead and pop the old one out, put the new one in, and screws, and it's almost like a race car. You're like a race you're like a race car, Karma. Is going to go in there and pit you up, and put a new one in.
Well, unfortunately, mine wasn't quite that simple, but yeah, it gave me my life back. Definitely.
Good. So, so you're improving, and the thing about it is, though, is like, and even though it's not the farm you want, not raising the animal. So you do have an army of six orange cats.
I have 4 orange ones and 2 tortoise shells.
So
and then outside, I have 4 little kittens. Their mama had them out underneath our house, and then when she weaned them, she abandoned them. And I have a couple of others that have adopted our house, and I'm trying to tame the kittens so that I can get them spayed and find homes for them.
Yeah, that's a rough thing to do. Animal rescue. I mean, it's I follow a channel called Flatbush Cats, and they're based in New York City, and they're lovely people. I love watching them, and I've donated money to them, and I've never even talked to any of them, but I go ahead and see all their stories they do. There's another gentleman who actually is in Alabama, and his name is Calvin, and he also is an animal rescuer. He's a cat rescuer. He likes to rescue cats. So I have a orange and white cat myself.
Yes.
He's gonna be 15 next month.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he's slowing down though. I'm noticing the signs, and I'm like, I'm just so hating it. I'm so hating
I
it.
My oldest one will be 10 in October, and then the next one will be 10 in this coming May, and then the gingers are all four going to be 8 in April. They're all
Uh,
four siblings from the same litter, and all 6 of them are from the same mama, just not from the same litter.
right, yeah, because like mamas can have like what do they say up to 6 different daddies per litter?
Well,
Yeah. It's,
um, the 4 gingers were from one litter, and
okay.
then the oldest one was abandoned at 10 days old under our house, and our dog found her and brought her to my husband, and we raised her with the dog's help. When she was 10 days old, we bottle fed her, and the dog took care of everything except for the feeding. And then the next one, let's see, that Lily is the oldest. Her name is Princess Tiger Lily, and she's a tiger. And then we have Molly May, and she is the half sister. And um, she was 5 weeks old when we found her in our shed. Same mama. And then the 4 gingers, we caught them when they were 5 weeks old. And there's a whole story behind the gingers.
Wow, you got them just
And
young.
yeah, they were all 5 weeks old. And they're all named for Gilligan's Island. We have Gilligan, and he was a drowning victim, but I was able to rescue him, save his life. Then we have Skipper, because you can't have Gilligan without the Skipper. And he's
No.
a big old fluffy fat nuisance. And then we have Thurston Yowl, not Thurston Howell, but Thurston Yowl, and his
Okay.
nickname is Turdy or Turtle because he's a little turd. An amazing personality. And then the one girl, which female gingers are very unusual,
Yeah.
but the one girl, her name is Mary Ann,
Okay.
and she's a little sassy girl.
I have
So,
one for you. Speaking of Gilligan's Island, so so when we lived in a town called Northville, a little away from here, um, we started taking care of a colony of cats,
mm-hmm,
uh, and so and so and my wife was she was getting that cat fever, like she wanted the cat. So I
mm-hmm,
went to for Christmas. I decided I'm going to go adopt a cat. So I went ahead and I adopted a cat. And we got home, and I'm on the computer, and I'm talking to my friend Caprice, and she's a writer, and she has a couple of kids, and we're talking. We've been talking back and forth for a long time, and I said, what happened was I had done a review on a record. I written a review, and she had saw it, and she commented on it, and
mm-hmm,
so her and I started talking, and the CD that I had reviewed, Caprice, it was said that's my mom. My mom did that record. You got to, where did you get that at? And I had bought that at a bookstore. I said that's my mom you got there. I said, well, you know, that's amazing because I really didn't know she could sing so well. Well, I got my wife for cat, and I'm sitting there with Caprice, and we're sitting going like we're trying to think of names for it. And I'm sitting there talking to Priest, and I'm going like, I can't think of a better name than to honor your mom by naming naming our cat after your mom. And
uh-huh,
she says, you're not going to do that, or you're not going to name her what I think you're going to name her. I says, yeah, we're going to do that. So my wife named her cat Ginger, after Ginger Grant.
oh,
Uh,
okay.
Caprice, my friend Caprice, her mom was Tina Louise. So
Oh,
so the priest and I, we have been friends for a while through the because I bought because of the record. So and she would tell me stories about her mom. It's just but I didn't press too hard into that because
hmm,
that's her mom had her even at that age at that time. Her mom's still alive. Um,
okay.
yeah, yeah, she's the last one standing of Gilligan's Island, Tina Louise.
Um,
Um, and she said that unlike the other people in the show, her mom did not really have a great affection for it. She not like
okay.
the other ones did. And so like so I'm gonna tell her that I'm gonna tell my mom that you named the cat after her, and I said I'll send you a picture of her so she won't be too upset because and so we did, and she was a tortie. And
Oh, I love torties.
yeah, so she was a tortie, so we sent that to her, and that was my wife's cat's name was Ginger. And Tina Louise actually blessed it, said that's she'll do fine with the name. She can have the name. So my wife's cat's name was Ginger after, and so that's cute. I love a good cat name story.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, this one here is China doll because she just has a little China face, little China doll face. I
she's
named
beautiful.
her when I first saw her, and she has one little black spot on her chin. This is one of the babies that was abandoned under the
Well,
house.
you socialized her very well.
Yeah, she's the first one that decided that I was okay to come around, and I have one other one that's pretty social, and I named her Bianca because she's kind of started out with a personality like Veruca from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Right, right.
And I didn't want to call
Not
her
now,
Veruca, so
not now.
I
So
called
cute.
her Bianca.
I guess that's because when it was time to eat, she was there like, I want it now. I want my food now. Uh, uh,
Well,
um,
she would put her little paw up there and push her sisters away, and that's when they were still pretty starving hungry. But now she's just a little sweetheart and a real love.
Now I know
But
you have a small home. Are you able to keep them all in the house, or are they indoor outdoor cat?
no, the strays are all outside, but my others are inside. I have a double wide that I live
Okay,
in, and so my cats that are actually mine, they live strictly indoors.
okay, yeah.
Um, but the ones that are strays, I've kept outside because I just don't have room. I have done rescue before. I've actually rescued about 6 other kittens and found homes for them over the last several years. And they all came in the house, and the other cats accepted them and played with them and all of that. But I didn't dare bring these in. I just didn't have room. And so
Um,
I'm leaving them outside.
uh,
Um,
Logan said the skipper is his.
yeah, yes, definitely. Skipper is a daddy's boy. Daddy and him are joined at the hip.
Uh-huh. Isn't that the best thing though? There's something to be said about when a guy and a cat bond. Uh,
Absolutely.
there's we cover a lot of horror movies in our in this channel. And a lot of my friends are horror fans, and
Yeah.
there's this character. His name is Art the Clown, and he's just and he's a crazy clown, and and he's maniacal, and so but I noticed during the first movie that he seemed to like cats, and so I saw the actor on Instagram, and I pinged him. I said, I just want to know, is your character, is your character? Because he plays a killer, right? He's goofy, he's silly, I said, I noticed that I knew Art did not hurt any of the cats. I said, I'm taking it that Art is a cat guy, and the actor wrote is absolutely at 100%. He's a dog and cat guy, and it made me laugh. It made me laugh so hard because now I'm going like, now I got to be now we got to be pals with Art. Oh, and Skipper is our special needs kitty. Well,
Yes, he
it
is.
doesn't surprise me because I think after all the shenanigans that Gilligan put the Skipper through on the show, he would probably be in special needs too by the end of it.
Well, Skipper
Um,
has a special story.
I love
Um,
the name Skipper. That's a cute name.
Skipper, um, he he was he was very uncoordinated, and apparently he must have had a fever or an illness at birth,
Oh, he stumbles,
and
doesn't
so he had some kind of brain damage.
he stumbles, doesn't he?
What's
He
that?
he 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 stumbles, doesn't he? He falls over.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
used to. He doesn't do it as much, but he is very klutzy.
I think they
And
call that CH.
he's kind of grown out of it a little bit now, but he used to. We could always tell when he was having a spell because his nose would get extremely dry and he'd get lethargic and clingy, and he would have a fever. And he's normally real clingy and always on Logan, but if he was having a spell, he would come to me and he would want his head rubbed.
Hmm.
And he was really cross-eyed and he couldn't, you take a laser pointer and have him chase it. I'd have to go really slow for him because he couldn't follow the laser pointer. And sometimes we have to keep the cat food up on our breakfast bar, which is kind of low,
Okay.
to keep the dog out of it. And
Yeah.
sometimes he'll miss. He can't jump up there.
Hmm.
And he'll fall flat on the floor. Sorry, it's not funny, but it is. He misses the counter
Yeah.
and he just slides and falls right off.
Well,
Uh,
they'll have to they learn from that though. I mean, like Paladin used to just I mean he was a jumper. But he's a good jumper. But the craziest thing I've ever saw a cat do, I had a cat named Derek, and we still don't know how he did it because we never saw it. And
mhm.
he jumped off of our bed onto our armoire, and we went in to make the bed, and and he scared my wife half to death because we weren't expecting to see him up there, and so we
Uh,
were putting the sheets on the bed, and then all of a sudden he flew from the armoire and jumped and landed right in the middle of the bed between us. My wife, I think that's the only time in the 14 years that I remember her actually screaming, and it was that because he came out of nowhere. He was like Randy Orton, RKO out of nowhere. Um, we still don't know. The only thing is, he never did it again. But he wasn't hurt or anything else like that. But it was just so weird to see him so high, and he just jumped, and he looked like a flying squirrel with his paws all stretched out, all four, and then he landed on the bed, and then he sat there and looked at us, and then he jumped down just and waited for us to try to finish making our bed so he could jump on the
yeah.
sheet again. Yeah. Um, Now you started your YouTube channel, and what got you? What led you to start YouTube?
Well, I mentioned that we are struggling financially. And so my initial thought, kind of twofold, was I'll get my channel up and I'll get it going and I'll get monetized and I'll try to get us a little extra money. That's something I can do from home. It'd be a job and a way to help financially aside from my disability that I bring in. Just something to help contribute more. Well,
Right.
we know how that goes. You don't just jump in and suddenly you have your channel monetized. I'm still not monetized, and that's okay. I'll get there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the other reason was when I became disabled at age 38, I'm 53 now, I stopped working and I suddenly found myself isolated. I had no friends. All my friends suddenly had nothing in common with me, and they just slowly drifted away. Well, I'm a social person and I need a social outlet. I need to feel connected to a community. I need to feel like I matter, like I have a voice, like I can make a difference. And when I first started the channel, I found myself a part of this homesteading community. And if there was ever a community that is welcoming and encouraging and loving and caring, it's the homesteading community, because everybody has something that they want to share and they want to learn. They're hungry for information. They're hungry for an opportunity to support and be there for you. And they can't have too many friends. And they welcomed me in. Jesse and Lisa with Lazy Days Ahead encouraged me to start a channel. It had been in the back of my mind for a while, but when they started encouraging me and telling me, you can do it, if anybody can do it, you can, I thought, you're right, I can. Why have I been waiting? And so on my birthday, I uploaded my first video. And next thing I knew, I had 50 subscribers. And I thought, oh, wow. And they kept telling me, go live, go live. Well, I had to have 50 subscribers to be able to go live. And when I hit 50 subscribers, I went live. And next thing I knew, I had 100 subscribers. And then I had 150. And now I'm almost to 300. And I've set a goal for 1,000 by the end of the year. Whether I make it or not, I don't know. But
I think you're well on your way.
I am. I am. If I make 500, I'd be happy. I'd be real happy if I can make 500 by the end of the year. My goal is 1,000. But if I make 500, I'll be real happy. Right now, my next small mini goal is to get 20,000 views, because when I reach 20,000 views, I've already reached my 250 subscribers. I need to reach 20,000 views, and then I'll be doing a giveaway on my channel for all my subscribers. And I am just barely over 1,000 views away from my 20,000 views.
So what are the chances of you giving away Skipper? Is that going to happen?
Nope. Now I have four beautiful kittens I'll give away.
I can see Logan going, what? What did he say? Just wanted to see if you were paying attention. What are you going to give away then? Or do you have an idea?
I have. I thought I would pick up something, a small little something, and we have a really popular candy bar that's made here in Idaho, and it's called an Idaho Spud Bar. And so with the small item, then I will put a couple of Idaho Spud candy bars with that.
Okay.
But then also I've picked out a really hilarious t-shirt that I will order from Amazon and have shipped directly to whoever wins. So I'll have 2 giveaways actually.
Okay.
On the night, whenever we do the giveaway, as soon as I reach my 20,000 views, I've already reached my 250 because it was 250 subscribers and 20,000 views.
Okay.
And I'm almost to 300 subscribers, but I haven't reached the 20,000 views. So
Now,
just gonna reach that. So
do you just Logan says, nope, not Skippy.
nope.
Not Skippy. Skippy staying home. What if I told you that Skippy says he's a Vandal fan?
Nope, he's not. He's orange. He's orange, and the Broncos are orange and blue, and Vandals are gold and black. That's ugly.
I have to be honest with you. My school is San Jose State, and so we play in the same. We play in the same conference. You and I.
No, it's San Jose. We beat San Jose more often than not.
That's all right. That's okay. We got you when we needed it, though, and we took the title away from you a couple of years ago. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, but we got it back.
Says yeah, that was only because of the computer glitch because we beat Vegas like a drum. We should have been there. It should have been Boise and San Jose State last year. I don't know how Las Vegas got in there. That's just ridiculous. So it's computerized. What's computerized? San Jose State beat Las Vegas. They should go. But we did give up that game. We had a 27. I think we had a 20-point lead on you guys at one point, and we just gave it up. You guys.
But we are known as the comeback kid. We come back from anything.
You guys gonna need it this year because you got to play Oregon this year. That's not going to be easy.
Hey, but look at the 2010 Fiesta Bowl. Go back to 2010 Fiesta Bowl.
That's a great game. That's a great game.
That was one for the record books.
That will also, if somehow they can get by, if Boise can get by Oregon, and not have any injuries, there's no reason why they can't go undefeated and go to the playoff. I mean, they really are good this year. They have a really good coach, the right coach. Not that the other one was a bad coach, but he couldn't coach offense. See, not Skippy. He does love the Razorbacks, though. Wait a minute, Skippy loves the Razorbacks. Okay.
No, he does not. He does not.
He says
the only pig Skippy likes is if it's something to eat.
Okay, he says Skipper's favorite sport is rodeo. Does Skipper like potatoes? Now you started your own interview section on you started this really got me. I was a little bit when I was asking you to come onto the show, and you were asking me about interviewing questions. I saw you on Tuber Chat, and that's where you and I met on Tuber Chat. You were asking questions about interviewing, and I thought that you were asking me if you could be a guest, and so I said yes, by all means, you could be a guest. And it wasn't until after I went and looked at your channel that I realized you are a interviewer as well.
I am.
And you were asking me questions about interviewing, and I thought you said I misread it. I thought that you wanted an interview. So I'm going like, oh, and then I saw you, and I'm going like, oh, she's an interviewer. She does what I do. How do you like doing interviews?
I love interviewing. I think it's fun. It is. It's really fun to meet people and get to know them, share out their channels, and the way that I do interviews, I go and I check out their channels. I like to find out a little bit of something personal about them, and then I like to dig in and find out something about them that people don't usually know. And then if I have the extra time, and especially if it's a couple, I like to find a little game to play with them towards the end. And like with Jesse and Lisa, we kind of played Hollywood Squares with them. I threw out a question, and Lisa had to answer for Jesse, and Jesse had to answer for Lisa to see how well they knew each other.
Sure.
Um, and I like to do something a little different just so people get to know a little bit about the people running the channel as opposed to just about the channel, and just kind of make it fun. And, you know, I want them to know the channel, but I also want them to know who's behind the channel, you know.
Yeah, interviewing fellow tubers is it's a lot of fun.
It is.
I try to do a couple of every month if I have the time on my calendar. I try to get a couple in every month. Like I have you on this month, and I also have Marshall Schartzer, Mellow Nomadic Adventures, and he's a van lifer. Uh,
Oh,
van life
okay.
Van life and her and homesteading life are they're spiritual brothers and sisters. They're very much the same people. Super nice, super super friendly, willing to help you out. They put out hacks on how to fix their rig. Marshall, if you didn't know what a van lifer was, and you went over and you watched Marshall's channel, about a month from now, you would know how to build out a rig. You would know how to build out a van to live in it. He's
Okay.
really that good. He's really that good. So but I enjoy talking to tubers as well, to find out how they got onto how they started to, got their channel going. And, you know, it's sort of charming because you hear a lot of the same stories especially when they're starting out. And
Hmm.
a lot they get a little discouraged right away if they don't get, like, how come I've been doing this for 2 weeks, how come I don't have 500 subs? It's like, well, gosh, if I knew that, I mean, if I knew that, I mean,
Yeah.
even Tuber Chat, you go look at Tuber Chat's channel, and you're thinking that guy does 3 shows a week, and all he does is shout out channels. You would think that guy would have 100,000 subs by now, but he doesn't.
Right.
It's not that easy, you know.
No.
You
I
gotta get a
certainly
good.
I certainly didn't have that kind of grandeur ideas or anything like that, but I certainly didn't expect it to go quite that slow on views, especially, you know. I didn't expect to have as many views as what it or watch hours, I guess is what it is. The
Watch.
watch hours are going like at slower than a snail's pace for me. Um, I haven't even got 300, or
Well,
maybe I do have 300,
I noticed
but
one thing you're doing right away that is extremely smart, and more people should actually take a page from you, Karma. Is I noticed that your interviews, they are an hour long. Mine are about an hour and a half,
mhm.
hour and 15, an hour and a half. A lot of new people when they come on here and they start streaming, and believe me, I did it too. If you look at my channel, there was I did a stream of this is when I started out. There's a stream I did I was online for almost 8 hours. It's common. That's commonplace. If for new people. But what I learned, I can stream now, and then they go on there and then they stream forever. And what I tell people is like, don't do that. Don't go on there and don't stream from. If you're looking for, it all depends what you're looking for. If you're just looking to have fun, do whatever you want. If you're trying to
Yeah,
get your channel to be monetized and you're trying to see better things for it, more view counts, more subs, then you don't want to do anything more than an hour and a half to 2 hours. That's it.
right.
That's because people, they just won't. I've seen people do interviews on other channels, and they've been on there for 3 and 4 hours, 4.5 hours. I'm going like, that's great. But whatever you get tonight for your view count, that's all you're getting, because nobody's
Right,
going to come back there and watch or listen to 4.5 hours. They just don't do it. So
right.
I try to do mine to make sure it's an hour and a half. With YouTubers, I do extend it a little bit more because YouTubers will tend to watch it a little longer. But most of the people I interview are not tubers. They're from all over the world. And a lot of them are entertainers or musicians or poets and whatnot. But I try to do an hour and a half. That way, it's like it's short. Uh,
Yeah.
speaking of entertainers and producers and whatnot, our good friend Chadwick Whitmer just walked in through the door, and Chadwick is a film director and a screenwriter, and he makes movies. He's a filmmaker,
Okay.
uh, and a very nice young man. How you doing, Chadwick? Glad you're doing well, sir. I see Alex is extremely busy. Um, Alex Javo is an actor that Chadwick used in one of his films, and Alex is doing very, very well. So it's always good. It's always good to see people who you interview, and then you follow them, and then you see them blow up. Like they suddenly become like well known. It's very, very cool. And Chadwick's like one of those people. Chadwick is he'll become a very well known filmmaker before it's all said and done. Um, Now, how many shows have you done on your channel? How many interviews have you done so far? And I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to put you on the spot, and I want you to tell me who's your favorite interview that you've done so far.
Oh, that's not even fair.
That's
Um,
that's what's so great about being in my seat and not your seat.
I've actually only gotten to do, I think, 5 interviews so far. I'm having trouble getting people to respond and agree to come on, or they'll agree to come on and I can't get them pinned down to a date to come on.
Hmm.
But, um, oh gosh, there's something I love about every single one of them that I've done. But you gotta love Jesse and Lisa. They're just so much fun. Um, and it's hard to quit talking to them.
Yeah,
They're they have the gift of gab, definitely. Um, Joyful Steffi yesterday. If I hadn't had to go, we probably would have kept talking and talking and talking. The same with Ann Dale. Um, she had to get going, or we probably could have kept talking for a while. She was a lot of fun to talk to also. That was my first time getting to actually talk to her. We've
now
chatted a lot and emailed.
are all
Uh,
these people from your community, Karma? Are these all homesteaders?
Joyful Steffi is not. She's part of Tuber Chat. She's one of the new ones in Tuber Chat. And she does
You should ask Kevin to interview.
calls.
You should interview Kevin.
I've been working on getting Kevin, and
Hmm.
he said he can do it, but it has to wait until things slow down for him. So it'll probably be September, maybe October. I'm working on getting, um, there's a couple that built a gardening app. It's called From Seed to Spoon. And I'm working on coordinating with them. I just having trouble getting them pinned down to a date.
Yeah.
And they do a live every Tuesday morning. Um, and they teach you how to garden and how to use their app. And really a fun uh, couple, and very, very knowledgeable about gardening. And I'm really looking forward to doing the interview with them. Um,
That'd be a good one to get.
yeah, I've been really wanting to do them for quite a while. It's getting it coordinated with their schedule,
Yeah.
and
Do you have
They get
do you
so
have
busy they forget to reply to my emails. So
you have one of these by you?
I have a pocket calendar.
Yeah, this is our best
It's in
friend.
the house.
Yeah, this is our best friend right here. A
Yeah.
calendar. And then you just fill in your holes. Now you do your show what every Monday? Every
Every
Monday. What time?
Monday,
Okay.
I shoot for 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock Mountain Time, which is 3 o'clock Eastern.
Okay.
Sometimes I have to adjust it just a little bit because of my schedule, but I try to keep it real close to the 1 o'clock hour.
Okay. Let's see. Logan says he'll be making a video from our sale ring at work very soon.
Yes, Logan works for the auction barn in Emmett, which is another town over in the next valley. It's only about a half an hour from us, and he is a yard man slash maintenance guy. And
Okay.
I'm actually trying to put together a series of videos talking about livestock auction business, and the importance of it. And also, I need to make a phone call, but I'm also trying to set up a interview. It would be a recorded video, and I would do it as a premiere, but an interview with an auctioneer that we know personally. He is a Reserve World Grand Champion auctioneer, um, as well as an international auctioneer, Reserve Grand Champion. Um,
That would be
and then
fun.
also um, with a brand inspector talking about the importance of branding livestock and why they do it.
So yeah, those would be all great topics to do. Uh,
Yeah.
Logan says my boss will be a great interview, and I responded that I didn't know that Skipper spoke, and so Logan said Logan says maybe. I thought he was talking about Skipper when he said the boss. I'm like, okay, that would be Skipper because everybody knows the cat rules the house.
Oh, believe me, Skipper talks all the time. He's a loudmouth.
Is he?
No, but
That's amazing.
no, the auctioneer is he works for the auctioneer. He's a good friend of ours, and he goes and takes care of his place while he travels the country and works at different auctions.
That would actually be a really good interview. That would be something I would be interested in if I ever found somebody like that. But that would be I'll look forward to that. I'll look forward to that when you
Well,
get
I've
that.
been working on trying to coordinate with him, and we just keep having one thing or another interfere with our interview. I've had it set up with him a couple of times, and things happen. So
It's like that.
it'll happen. It'll happen.
I've had so many. I mean, that's what I tell people. Is this, I for every 100 people I ask, I probably get shot out of the saddle 97 times. For all the people I ask to come onto the show, um, I only get like yeses, like three out of the 100 per 100. It's very hard, especially
Yeah.
with the people I work with. I mean, they want to do it, they like to do it, but it's all about getting the time to do it. And so, like
Right.
that's why sometimes I do, like I'm doing a pair of shows Friday. I'm doing one this Friday and one next Friday. Normally I just do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but I have learned that sometimes you got to go where the show goes, where the guest goes. So if they're
Mhm.
only able to do it on a Friday, then that's what I'm going to do, and then I'll promote it as
Yeah.
such. It is now
Well,
90 minutes past time, and that is my magic number. Um,
okay.
I want to definitely thank you for coming out and talking with us. I had
Thank
no idea
you.
how to go. I'm overjoyed. I had a lot of fun. You're
I did
very
too.
too, and yeah, I see success for you. You just keep doing what you're doing, and the more guests you get underneath your belt, the better it is. And one other tip I can throw you away, if you don't mind, and this you might get
Okay.
some good luck out of this. But when you do go to Kevin's, when you do go over to Kevin's, look for people that are new, like underneath 100, and talk to them. Ask them, hey, would you be willing to do an interview?
Okay.
Their channels are small, but believe me, they will promote that. They'll get out there and say, I'm going to be interviewed. I'd like to talk to you about you and your channel. But I only got like 45 people. Still like to talk about you and your channel. And then
Okay.
you get them out there, you get them there for an hour, get to know them a little bit. They will go out there, they will promote that like the Dickens. And it might help out. And of course, Kevin too. And
Right.
Kevin will give you an interview. He will do it.
One
If
of
he says,
the
yeah, and be prepared. Be prepared to have a lot of people in your chat when he comes visits.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that because I only draw anywhere between 3 and 8 people right now.
Yeah, don't get discouraged by that. Don't get discouraged. It is sometimes discouraging when you turn into other channels and you see they have 40 or 50 in there. It is. A lot of that has to do with the topics that they do. A lot of people talk about popular topics, so that brings them a lot of people. Um, like like if you're sitting there and you're talking about planting flowers or you're planting dandelions, you may not get that people coming in there watching that, but
Mhm.
your view count, it will grow. It will grow. People want to hear stuff like that. And so be patient. It will happen. I don't get very many people either. I get any, unless I get a well known actor or actress, and then it'll go up a little bit. But most of my shows are they're between 8 to 15. And I've been
Mhm.
doing this for a long time, but I don't care because I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it because I love to talk to people. Like this show
Right.
here tonight, I think the most we've hit is 5, but I don't care. I don't care if there's
Yeah,
no, because I've had a lot of fun tonight, and it's really all that matters to
I
me.
have to. I have
So
to.
it was very nice meeting you and Logan and Skipper and what was the pretty cast name? Miss Kitty May. The one you had
Which
on your
ones?
lap earlier? The one you had on your
Oh,
lap
that
earlier?
was that was China Doll.
China doll. Yeah, she's very beautiful. She's beautiful cat.
Yeah,
But I
she
want to thank
is.
you. I want to thank you for coming out, and I want to thank the chat, which is mostly Logan and Chadwick, and who else came up here today? I want to say hi to Jake. Thank you so much for coming out and hanging out with us. And Brother Max. Brother Max is in the house. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. We will be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. We will be talking with J.W. Colwell for the Indie Escape Network. He's a very nice young man, and we will probably be rehashing once again. We'll be rehashing Deadpool and Wolverine. That's right. We're talking about superheroes. Um, we'll be talking about that and a whole bunch of other topics tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. And you can see Karma's interviews on Mondays at 12 noon, 12 noon Eastern time, or 12 noon Mountain
Yeah.
time, 3 p.m. Eastern time.
1 o'clock Mountain Time.
Is that the same as West Coast or
No,
okay?
that
So
would be
you
12 Pacific, 1 Mountain,
okay?
2 Central, and 3 Eastern.
Okay, so 1 o'clock Mountain Time, 3 o'clock Pacific Time, every Monday at 1 o'clock. And I'll put that down there in the description box. And do you have a playlist for your interviews? Did you start a playlist
I
for all your?
do. It's called
Okay,
Meet Me Monday.
okay, I will be putting that down there in the description box as well, so you can catch up with Karma's interviews. And I hope that you do and give her a follow as well. That would be awesome. All right, that is it for us. Thank you so much for coming out and doing this with us. I appreciate it so
Thank you.
much.
I
Have a
appreciate
great
it.
night, and we'll see you in a couple weeks when football season starts.
Absolutely.
All right, have a great night.
You too.